Yo, welcome back to Shotgun The Aux podcast. It's me, your host, Tom, joined by my co-host, Rob.
That's me.
Another exciting instalment of Shotgun The Classics.
That's it.
We decided to stick with that because we couldn't be asked to think of anything else.
Too late to think of anything else.
Here we are, man. Here we are. Got the old lockdown trim sorted as well. Been to the barbers, Rob?
Of course, 100%.
Same, man. Same. Had to be done.
I booked it for the week after, which means I had to go for a week longer with shit hair. But yeah, no, I got it in the end. It's all right.
Exactly, man. So today we're covering the UK classic album, The Sagas of by Klashnekoff, dropped in 2004. It's a seminal UK hip-hop album from a Terra Firma member, full of layered dark storytelling, which depicts the bleak side of living in East London before gentrification and everything else. The project is aggy, it's raw, but also technically perfect in my opinion. But we'll get into another track by track breakdown because I'm keen to hear your thoughts, Rob, man.
It is probably, if you could imagine like the top 5 UK albums, this is one of the ones that sits at the top for me. So
Has to.
But you know, like there's obviously, you know, I'm not going to mention the other ones because I don't want to sound like it's unfair or we're trying to compare them, but like this one will sit at the top. One of them, like, if not at the top, yeah, it'd be there.
It was a time as well. I mean, UK hip hop was really at a crossroads. Like, you already had like Council State of Mind. You already had Boy in the Corner. It was kind of before grime kind of really grew legs. Do you know what I mean? It was at that point.
It was there. Grime was definitely there. I just think, yeah, it was what people were beginning to feel comfortable with, and I think Clash brought like the road to hip hop, to UK hip hop. Do you know what I mean? But I think with UK hip hop, it was a very mixed bag anyway. It was just music that involved a lot of different people from a lot of different walks of life that were all kind of bundled into one. And then like as music kind of progressed, it kind of evolved into, okay, so that's like the road guy, that's the UK hip hop type of guy, that's the rap guy, that's the grime guy, and it kind of all got split off. Do you know what I mean? So this comes from a time where everyone is kind of all in it together. You can hear someone like Klashnekoff at the same show as a jester, a task force doing Cosmic Gypsies, and the next minute they're doing Murda. You know what I mean? So, and you know, nowadays you couldn't do that. Nowadays, if you had an equivalent of Klashnekoff spitting with a flip tricks, it wouldn't work. Do you understand? So it's that kind of comparison. So like, yeah. So back then, it was more of a level playing field for what was going on, you know, rap and hip hop wise.
Yeah, man.
Everyone's put together.
What's that Leaf Dog track? You know, the big posse cut. Because I think Clash and Flip Tricks are on that, just as an example.
Really, I've not heard it. There you go. I've not heard it.
What the hell is it called, man? It's on Dyslexic. The Legacy. That's it.
Never heard it.
On Dyslexic Disciple. Is Flip Tricks on there? Yeah.
But you could imagine Klashnekoff with those guys because say if he's on there, right? You can imagine Klashnekoff with them lot, but you couldn't imagine like someone like Pot of Paper on there with the flip tricks.
Yeah, that's a fair one.
Do you know what I mean? And they're from that. That's from that road side of it. So this comes from a time where it's a simpler time where things are more, you know.
To be fair, man, I've just on a tangent, but I've just Googled that Legacy Posse Cut, and fucking everyone's on it, to be fair.
I'm not on it.
Five Life Cypher, Smellington Piff, BVA, Cracker John, Jest, Jack Jetson, Dyke, Verb, Sonny Jim, My Stiggy, Klashnekoff, Flip Tricks, Bill Shakes, Eric the Red, Kashmir, Remus. Fucking hell.
Is it an album?
Actually, no. I don't think.
You sure that's not an album?
I'm not. Yeah, that's the album. I think they may just be the features on the album.
Yeah, you're gonna cut this bit out.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. So anyway, yeah. So the Sagas of it's another kind of not short but not too long. It's like a good length to digest. It's I think the skits are really kind of aptly placed and they're really thematic. In terms of the story it tries to convey, they're relevant. Compared to the skits we talked about in the Jest project on the last episode,
Yeah.
I think there's more relevance to these ones, but we'll get into those. So, did you want to just start at the beginning?
Yeah. Like for me, the skit at the start sets the tone. It sounds like, and obviously I'm an uncultured white guy, um, semi-middle class. Like to me, it sounds like a Rastafarian church or something. Do you know what I mean? And they're talking about, you know, different areas and this, that, and the other. And then he says, smoke the chalice or whatever they say. And then Zero kicks in.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And Zero for me, I don't know. I love Zero. Zero is the one that, like,
I've got to agree with you. We've had this conversation before, man.
I am listening to it wherever I am, like wherever I am, everybody else is having it. I don't care. The windows are going down, the music's getting. I don't care how old I am or what my fucking car looks like or anything like that. It's getting fucking chopped up loud and it's getting put on. And I'll sing as well. I don't care. Like it's one of them.
Yeah,
It's,
man. Yeah, man. You got to come through with the stylings on that one. No. At the
right,
beginning, it's fucking
yeah.
incredible, man. And just it's so up tempo. Just the bars, just like everything about it is just ridiculous.
Like, you know, I don't. Yeah. It's just raw. It's It's raw. Like, you know, people. I've never seen Clash. Oh no, I've seen Clash live. What am I talking about? But yeah, you know, you can imagine this just goes off. You can imagine people pushing and shoving and going fucking stupid to this. Like it's a banger. Do you know what I mean? And it's riddled with his, like, you know, like you said, imagery. Quite simple. I like his delivery. Like his delivery is second to none in the sense of
He foreshadows Murda as well with one of his bars in this.
which one?
It's Murda, man shot in rock to make an earner.
Was this on this?
Yeah, he says it's in Zero, which is like, I know obviously, I'm guessing that Murda was written before Zero, so he kind of retrospectively set that up as a bar to foreshadow it. I'm not sure. That's just pure speculation, but it's a nice touch though. But just his bars and his delivery on this, like hombres crazed, stay crazed, like Frankie Phrase, just incredible, man. Wordplay.
The whole thing, yeah, the whole thing. Where the second verse where he goes, it was the East Maze where I spent days on my Jack and J, strapping J's for Jack Raddick's raid my uncle's gates. He's living big, pushing heavy weights from his place. They caught him baking cake, parole date 2008, and it's like, wow. And at the time, I remember at the time hearing it, thinking, fucking hell, 2008 is fucking ages away. Do you know what I mean? And now it's like, yeah, no, it is ages away, but it's that way, ages away. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, no, but the whole thing, like, you know, it is just a banger of a tune. The production, was Joe Buda on this one? Did he produce this?
No,
Lewis Parker.
Lewis Parker.
That's a smasher from Lewis Parker. Absolute smasher from Lewis Parker. Like, this is my well, so far this is like my 10 out of 10 song. Go crazy. Yeah, live. Get the fucking party started. Even though it's not about anything party at all, there's nothing. Yeah, it's literally just raw, Aggie. Let's go. Fuck the place up. Perfect. Do you know what I mean?
So man, Zero. I think it's unanimous. We both fucking love that song. Yeah,
that's it. Amazing.
Yeah. So next track, it's Murda. So yeah, man. What are your thoughts on this one? Because obviously it's the most probably universally recognised, arguably one of the biggest UK hip hop tracks. I think it's got kind of airplay in America as well.
I'm thinking, did I like it as much as I? Obviously, I like the song. I really, really like the song.
But last time we were talking about Jess, Return of the Drifter, and you were saying about discovering that album during like the download era.
Oh, this is the same. This is
yeah. This is the track for me, man. That really stands out.
So I must have. So yeah, like similar to Return of the Drifter. This was in bits and bobs as well, because I remember that this album was, again, is a collection, like what Harry said that when he spoke to us. He said that it was done as like a collection of things, and it's the same with this because it's singles essentially. This is all singles because Clash was dropping these all as singles. Like you had like Dagger Mentality, Murda, which had Parrowdice on the back of it, and what else? Jan Crowville was on its own. What else have we got on there? Like most of these were all singles.
Black Rose was a single as well, I think.
Black Rose, do you know what I mean? So this was a big collection of singles. Yeah, so we got these dripped and drabbed and dropped and put in here and there. And someone said that was it Before You Die was on a mixtape or something. I can't remember, and that came out, and so I think I think Before You Die was on a mixtape before
I
it even
wouldn't be
came
surprised,
out.
man. I wouldn't be surprised.
So like you said, you hear it in drips and drabs.
But it's surprising how it still all comes together as like a coherent project that works together so well.
Comes in perfectly. Yeah.
It's
really,
mad.
really, yeah.
Speaking of Harry Love, we caught up with him again to talk about his involvement in the project. So notably the tracks "It's Murda" and "Parrowdice." So let's cut away now and find out what he has to say. Thanks again for joining us to give some insight on your involvement with the classic album, The Sagas of Klashnekoff. So, yeah, man, tell us a little bit about how that came into being.
Well, I'll try and keep it more brief than when I was talking about the Jest album, but again, it was very similar. It was a collation of tracks rather than being a specific album project at the time. It wasn't made as an album. It was so it was quite a period of time between all the different songs. Like Murda had a lot of different iterations. We were asked by Kemet Records, which was the record company of Itch FM. We were asked to do a collab. They wanted us to do a collab record. They wanted me to produce a single with Klashnekoff. So that ended up being Murda in Parrowdice. So that it was produced as a single. It wasn't really produced as part of an album. They were collected together as part of that. It became an album, what we know as an album now. But again, this is the days before CDs really. Before we were really making any of this with the intention of CDs. After this sort of not exactly success, but the reception from these songs. I mean, I suppose you could say, yeah, Murda was a success. That was just starting to go crazy. But like after the reception we were getting for these things, the prospect of putting them together as CDs and selling them as CDs and as albums, that was the sort of beginning of that time when they start that again. That was then led into like Skinny's album and stuff like that. We're starting to get, and then it was like because the people were now finding these things on CDs, the sales were starting to go up and up and up for what we were used to seeing. Like a few hundred copies of a record or a few thousand copies of a record was like, yeah, a few thousand was good deal to us. But then like by the time these things started getting collated as CDs, we were starting looking at like 10, 20, 30, 40,000 sales of CDs and shit. So that's the sort of short version of how I did Murda. But there's like two
Parrowdice as well, man. That track is just ridiculous. Like both of those songs for me are just are seminal. They just like mean a lot to me. It's a classic album. It's one of my favorite UK hip hop albums of all time. Arguably, Murda is probably one of the biggest songs in UK hip hop. Arguably. In terms of reception, obviously it was in like Kid Hood as well, and it got universal acclaim. I didn't like DJ Premier give it props at one point.
Did he? Okay,
I heard on a podcast somewhere that he did.
No way. I need to find. No, I've been waiting for some sort of acknowledgement from Primo, but I know I was at a show and a Ghostface show, I think, and it was playing, and he came out and was like, grabbed the DJ or whatever, and someone went, yeah, did you see that? That was someone came back and told me like Ghostface had God, what the hell is this record? But then also one of the best moments of my life was Maestro sent me a text message from Jazzcaf saying, "Yo, I'm at the Ali Shaheed gig and he's just played Parrowdice," and I was just like,
wow,
"Whoa,
That's
so
fucking crazy.
wow.
yeah." I mean, I know like murder is murder, isn't it? It's bigger than any of us. Like it's bigger than hip hop, to paraphrase. But yeah, it's crazy. I mean, there was like we were really after something because we, like I say, we had the first like Lights Out beat was nearly Murder at one point. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right,
Like,
Yeah.
it never was recorded as Murder, but there was, you know, as we were trying to find the right thing for this single, I don't know if either of you have heard the original demo version that I've posted a few times before of Murder, but it's completely different. It's very dark. It's so dark that that Kemet were like, we can't put this out. People will actually murder each other. Do you know what I'm saying?
Dark as in like the like sonically or the lyrics or what?
It's the same lyrics.
Oh.
It's the same lyrics, but it's just a different beat. It's like more like a Mobb Deep type,
Like
really,
Havoc-y type.
really sinister. Yeah, sort of.
Is it on your
like,
socials to check out?
Yeah, it's on my Instagram. I put it up a few times.
That's the first place I'm going. I'm gonna have a look at it afterwards.
And I'm sure, like, whenever I put these things up, they often get like stuck all over YouTube by people as well. So it's floating about out there. But yeah, I call it Murder One. And yeah, so it was just too dark for them. It's still crazy record, but I kind of understood what they meant. And you know, obviously, this is when everyone wanted a club banger. You know, so it's like, so they just went, look, well, you got to go away and rework this. So they were like, the record is crazy, but you got to rework this. I was like, fuck. So I went home, and the funny thing was, like, there was that night jump off. And I think that was my friend Suze used to do photography there or whatever. So I had a bunch of photos. They used to have the booty shaking battle. So I had this photo. My friend Suze had given me this bunch of photos or whatever, and I had this photo of this girl's ass, like just on the wall. Like, so as I was making this different version, I was like imagining this girl's ass
Shaking
shaking while I'm making. I'm like, all right, I've got to make this girl's bumper start shaking. Like, so then I was strategically thinking, like, how do I make this something that's going to work in a jump off booty shaking battle, but it was also very much like I wanted it, you know, with the very strong overt like Jamaican and West Indian, vibes and influence from Kalash and from my upbringing here in Ladbroke Grove as well and stuff. I was also thinking like, something that you could play in carnival or like, or that, you know what I mean? Like that the West Indians in my area would feel or something like, you know what I mean? So there's all these different things. And that was partly like, because we were sat there watching Rockers and Stepping Razor Red X, which is where it's the Peter Tosh film where the quote comes from. And but that was supposed to be the beginning of Murder. That the quote at the beginning of Parrowdice was supposed to be on the beginning of Murder, to give it context that it's a sound clash. It's not. We're not talking about just murdering people. We're talking about murking them in a sound clash. So, but then it was just like the runtime. Like it was already a long enough song, so to put that on the beginning of a radio single just made no sense. Yeah. So being that Parrowdice was going to be the B-side, it went on to there.
Apologies for the tangent, but just to prove I wasn't going fucking crazy, I just Googled Klashnekoff DJ Premier, and I'm reading an article, and it says that DJ Premier put him forward for a BET award in 2007, obviously a few years after the Sagas of.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
But that implies that he acknowledges Klashnekoff, which means that he has to have heard Murder, right?
Yeah.
And I heard it on a podcast. I'm not going crazy. I think it must have been like Ramesh's podcast, Hip Hop Saved My Life, and I think he mentioned it on there. But I could be wrong.
Okay, I don't know. I don't know. Obviously, I'd like to assume some of these things or whatever, and I know it played a significant part in his career, so that it plays a factor. But then I don't know. yeah, I don't get. I don't know.
You can't.
I hear little bits and bobs, but then sometimes it's funny. Like sometimes you just don't get mentioned. You think, really, you're not going to mention? Like you're not going to? Okay, no. Let me just sit my ego down here in the corner and just, you know what I'm saying? But so I don't know. I'd like to think so, but I don't. I heard that someone told me that they heard Busta Rhymes say that he was into the Verb T album one time, but I don't know if that's true or not. So who knows? I take some of it with a pinch of salt. I take some of it with hope.
Yeah. Just blindly
also,
believe it's true. Fuck it.
Well, it's also historical context. Like I came to a certain point in my life, years ago, where it's like, you know what? If like I stopped chasing these things, it's like. It's kind of we've done what we've done, and it's like if they don't acknowledge it, then so be it. But I know a lot of these guys anyway. Some of them do, like Beat Miners. I know Evil D definitely shouted it out around it. He shouted out Alcoholic Author and all that stuff, and It's All Live way back in the days. J Rock came to this country. This is before I'd actually met him, but I knew some of the other junkies, and he bought that and a bunch of other things and shouted me out on the radio before we'd even met. This was in 2001. Souls of Mischief apparently went and bought like Four Horsemen, and so I know definitely like there's been moments, and like I say, I've made friends with a lot of these guys, but the weird thing is I've got really close relationships with a lot of really big people in hip hop, but we don't necessarily even talk music, or they don't even necessarily know my production. But as now with things like Instagram, like it's become more and more normalized. So, Ultra Magnetics, I'm friends with. Like I could reel off lists of people when it's just crazy, really. At this point, if I'd have known as a kid that life would be like it is now, I wouldn't have believed it. But who knows what tunes people know? I don't know. Just gotta just keep going,
Absolute man, indeed, man, indeed. Well, Harry Love, man, thank you again for your insight and taking the time to chat to us on the podcast.
Thank you, lads. Thank you.
Really, really appreciate it. You have to come back for another chat soon.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you'll be talking about some new material as well.
Reach out whenever you're ready, man.
Yeah, man. Keep an eye out for that Good Life, the unreleased Jest thing I took off of the Falling Down. I'm planning to release that this year.
Oh, mate, looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Well, big up, Harry, man. Appreciate your time, brother.
On that note, much love, man.
Take care of yourself.
Thank you. You too, guys.
Peace.
Stay safe.
Welcome back. Thank you, Harry, for that. For the insight. It's crazy hearing those stories, man.
Do we need to say any more in this tune? Like we've heard it from the horse's mouth, really.
Nah, let's move on. But obviously, we talked about Murda and Parrowdice. But you're going to Jankroville, track 4.
I again, there's so many
classic.
The pianos on it, like what are they? They're not. They're just low, easy trudging pianos. They're not like chords. Sorry, they're just ding 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 ding. It's just very, it's very easy listening to. Do you know what I mean? It's not like anything that's too abrasive to your ears.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of offsets the content of
the
bars within the song.
It's aggy. It's raw. It's like
a
depiction of like street living in East London. Like the lengths kids have to go to in order to survive. Kind of like pre-gentrification. It's just it paints a picture, man.
I think we don't, as people, we don't understand this era of London, because we could go to London and see these places now, but like you said, they've completely changed, and this is kind of like coming from that era, and it paints a picture, and if you can relate to it, then it says a lot to you, but if you can't, it gives you a vivid image of it.
Exactly, man.
And I think that again, I think that's kind of prevalent in all kind of hip hop. Like, you can either relate to something really, really well, or it gives you something to kind of imagine, and you play into it as well. And the fact that it's homegrown you have a sense of ownership for it. You know what I mean? And he's spitting. These bars are really, really, really intricate, clever. There's multis in there. Yeah, he's setting a scene for you and setting a precedent within his genre.
Man.
Yeah.
The East Maze where the lifts are full of piss and pitch black skies and clouds of red mist. I wrote this shit, fury flying through my fist. It's fucking crazy, man.
That's poetry. That's simple poetry. Again, like we suggest, you could stick it on in a frame in a fucking museum, and someone would say that's poetry. Okay, and that's the I think that's the beauty of being able to be a rapper, is you don't have to have an education or be recognized from anything. You just get recognized for your words, and you can be from absolutely anywhere. Do you know what I mean?
Man.
You can do whatever you want with it, and it's, you know what I mean, best poets on the earth are rappers.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? They are.
Exactly.
They are.
They can do it the most efficiently. They can do it over a rhythm. It's like, it's multitasking as well, if you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. But I think in terms of relatability, what you kind of touched upon earlier with like the content of this song, and it resonates with some people because they go through these experiences. It doesn't necessarily resonate at the same level with other listeners, predominantly kind of white middle class UK hip hop listening demographic, but it's kind of a conversation in itself, that the whole kind of listener base of UK hip hop and what resonates with who. I think it makes for like a really interesting discussion. Like I've spoken to various people about this, like, and again, maybe for another podcast entirely, but if we're listening to, like, say Griselda, for example, in the States, right, perfectly comfortable listening to all of that going on, kind of nodding the heads, like, yeah, we can't relate to it, but we're feeling it. But when it's like a bit too close to home, it's a different story entirely. It's a weird one, man. I've had this conversation with so many people.
What you mean, like, it's a bit too real?
People are more inclined to listen to Griselda than listen to like grime or drill here.
Drill, because you kind of, it's almost like it's of no consequence. Like if you listen,
it's like it's pure like escapism almost.
Yeah, so the American gangster rap, or you can call it road rap, or whatever you want to call it, like is Hollywood escapism, because it's not our world. And then if you listen to drill, like it's young men and young women doing things and are actually being killed as a result of sometimes in music, and it's that kind of attachment, and do you know what I mean? And there are kids, and I teach kids like that, and it's like, fuck, do you know what I mean? So you kind of think, shit, you don't really, that's why people get scared of it. It's because there's that instant consequence. But when you listen to, like you said, when you listen to Griselda, it's all fine.
But
sell as much crack as you like, you're fine.
It's cognitive dissonance, isn't it? It's a weird it's a weird one, man. But conversation for another podcast maybe, because we could go on for a long time. But so where were we anyway, man? Jankroville. So poetic, really bleak depiction of that time. Really impressive song, man. I can't really fault it, to be honest.
No, it's a good song. Like, you can't fault it, and the nice. It's nice. It's not really nice, but there's a good bit on the track where it's very relaxed all the way through, apart from the chorus, which is quite shouty. Where he ends the last chorus, and you have those gunshots come in, and it's unexpected. And I know it's a gunshot sample on a hip hop song, and okay, whatever, but it's quite unexpected, and it's abrupt as well, and it's
kind of poignant in a way, though.
Yeah, poignant.
Yeah. Exactly, man.
So,
so we've spoke about Parrowdice with Harry Love. He's given his take on it. Incredible song, epic tune. Sonically, it reminds me a lot of like Wu-Tang, like Triumph or something like that. It's got a very like grand feel to it, if you know what I mean.
What feel?
Sorry?
Would you say what?
It's got a very like grand feel to it.
Yeah. There's a lot of kind of depth to the sound that's being used in it. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, the way it kind of it's like dreary, but I know. I can't describe it. It's a feeling. It's a feeling that you hear when you hear whatever that is they used when whatever Harry did to
an epic feeling.
Mm.
So moving on to the next track, Before You Die, and come
It's
on,
good.
man,
It's good. I love it. Like, you know, it's bars. It's bars. Again, the production's nice on it as well with the little grenade sound effect. You know, it's got the little toy grenade sound effect on it when it's that, you know, it's a banger again. It's just, you could have put this whole album on at any given time, at any different place, and put it on random, and you'd have picked this. And if this song came up again, you would still. It's not one of those ones that people would say, "Oh shit, do you remember Before You Die?" Because you have all those other standouts like Zero and Dago and Jankovic and Power. But this, you could still put this on, and it would still bang. You know what I mean? It's not. There's no inconsistency with this song. So
no, man.
Who's on the production?
It's Joe Buddha, I think.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. But yeah, you know,
let me just validate that. Yeah, Joe Buddha.
But
and,
yeah, the hooks, in a nice little kind of like sing along hook that you can sing along to if you want. Do you know what I mean? And it carries it through. Scribbler's verse is nice on it.
Mm-hmm.
We don't hear enough from Scribbler.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really go wrong with Scribbler and Kaiser, man. Like, I mean, I think all of their features throughout this project, we'll get to the rest of them, fucking sick.
But you know, but wait, yeah, no, we don't hear enough of Scribbler. I don't think we ever heard enough of Scribbler. To be fair, we did on all the Terra Firma mixtapes and stuff like that and features.
Yeah,
we didn't hear a lot of solo stuff.
Do you know why that was?
No, I do not.
Do you think it's anything to do with just like life, motivation? Just could be a number of reasons.
Yeah. Life is a motherfucker. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, if you've got a family or a job, or you know, money problems, and you know, or mental health problems, or any other problem, then you're not gonna chuck your head into music. So it could be like you said, it could be a lot of different things that are stopping him, holding him back. But either way, there was definitely a need or a niche for him, and he cut a niche for himself within UK hip hop at that time.
100%, man. I mean, Terra Firma were just like not to be fucked with.
No,
like,
not at all.
Still hold up, man. I think to this day, just incredible stuff. What's next? All I Got, another Joe Buddha.
I'll let you lead that one. You can lead that one. How do you feel about that? I do like this one. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, man. I think it's you know, lyrically, it's really strong. It's kind of very like introspective.
It is, yeah.
It's kind of a nice, because obviously it's a bit of not a palate cleanser. I'd say that Black Rose is probably the palate cleanser on the album, like thematically. Yeah, well, we'll get to that.
This is kind of like nice and hazy and like like you could sit and kick back to it. Like it's not too visceral. Do you know what I mean? It is something that you can kind of like, you know, sit back and relax to and marinate on what he's saying. Almost, it still has that kind of like harsh reality kind of message to it.
Yeah,
you know,
man.
Within the chorus, he's talking about, you know, custody and TDA and GBH and stuff like that, and you know, being trapped on an estate. But there's the soulful stylings of it give it again that bittersweet quality. So it's nice. It's like an unwindy type song. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
It's very nice.
Again, man, like the bars paint a picture. It's very vivid. Like, can you imagine like John Lennon catching your own fish and growing your own melon as the sun beckons? Me and my son watch the sun setting. Still, the feeling in my heart is unsettling. I'm stalked by reality and haunted by depression as these lessons manifest. It's just, come on, man. It's just, again, just pure poetry. But that's the thing about this whole album and Klashnekoff as an artist as a whole. Like, he just rides that line so effortlessly. You know, between kind of like Aggie road rap and poetry. It's just a effortless combination in his work.
It's almost like on here he's trying to find a silver lining within with that dystopian image that he is kind
He's
of
trapped, man. That's the
conditioned to
thing.
live in. Yeah.
Exactly. It's his environment is forcing him to be introspective. You know.
It's also forcing him to do the other things that he's talking about, or be a part of, or be a witness to all the other things that he's talking about on here.
Yeah, it's like a vicious circle. You know?
Yeah. Well.
And that's kind of, again, that's a kind of a big theme throughout this whole project. But no, I like it, man. I mean, to be honest, I don't really. It's hard again. We're talking about these classic records. It's relative to the record we're discussing, but I don't dislike any tracks on this record. I can't tell you. You know what I mean? There's not a single track I think like there's that's skippable.
No.
Like on most albums, that's how it stood the test of time for me. Like most albums, there'll at least be like 2 or 3 tracks.
A couple of songs you'll go,
that's dated, or it doesn't really hold up today, or it's a bit boring. The production's not really like my cup of tea. I don't like the beat, or like the bars are a bit corny. Like every single track on this record has something to offer. As some kind of it all ties together thematically, but it all has kind of these individual little concepts that work really well. And they all form kind of a piece of his personality. So you really get to know him throughout this entire project. You really kind of start to finish, the Sagas of it is his story. You feel like you've read his story, you've listened to him recite his story. It's just incredible, man.
Yeah, very, very well put together. And he just knew how to weave the extra bits in after dropping those singles. It'd be good one day if we could actually chat to him and ask him about how those, what the intention was behind the singles, the drops, what was gonna come first, and what was even recorded first, if it was an intention to have all those producers, do you know what I mean? Just to see what the motivation was behind. It'd be really interesting.
Yeah.
Good song. Played it in a traffic jam the other day, and it calmed it down. I was stuck in Slough at the lights. Just chilling out. It was all right. It was good.
So the next one, when I mentioned palate cleanser, probably a poor choice of words, but in terms of like content, so it's kind of about a couple of things, like how I interpret it anyway. It's kind of like it's a love song, but it's about kind of becoming a father, trials and tribulations of that kind of thing, family troubles as well. So it's almost like a bittersweet song in many ways, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I'm looking at the words. I'm just refreshing myself with the lyrics again, really, really quickly, and and it's like, I like the way he's taking things that you wouldn't expect people to chuck in the mix, or someone like him to chuck in the mix. Like, he's talking about daffodils and stuff, innit? He's talking about daffodils and, obviously looking at how she looks, watching daffodils, smoking weed, like it's all very sentimental. Do you know what I mean? It's sentimental.
And again, it's kind of offering another part of his personality into the mix, like a more kind of vulnerable side of his personality,
which you don't always get from a lot of people. And like, I personally, I don't do these types of things because I don't like to communicate like that all the time. There might be some certain things I might put out there, but it's very brave to do something like this. Do you know what I mean? Because you're putting yourself out there. Because you can write really, really fire rap about something that's personal to you, but then just as quick as you've written it, you can think to yourself, "No, this is corny. I don't want to tell people about. They don't want to hear me. They want to hear me talk about this, that, and the other." So you have to have this kind of presence of mind, of confidence, in order to validate it and be comfortable pushing it forward. So it's nice that he's able to feel confident and push those human things in order to connect with other humans. Do you know what I mean? Because we all connect with this. It's just having that confidence to do it, and he's done it on this, and it comes across really, really well.
And the second verse is obviously like, I mean, it implies that his father's passed away, and it's all very kind of personal to him.
Mm, 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 mm. So yeah. So you get enough. I think this is
But
enough props to him for doing this because a lot of rappers lack the honesty.
yeah, man.
So
Because
yeah,
it's two ways to interpret it. You either take it as this is his truth, this is his story that he's telling, or he's telling someone else's story. And he's like a conduit for the story. I don't know. I don't know if this is like, you know,
yeah, he's
autobiographical or if this
or
is
he's telling
he's
other
talking about
people's
someone
stories.
else, if that makes sense. So,
Yeah, it's what third person type thing.
but I assume probably the former.
Okay.
I assume he's probably talking about himself.
Yeah, of course.
Um,
Yeah, it's the way that he's allowing. Yeah.
Given the subject matter on more kind of in his recent album about like his late mother passing and everything else, he's very kind of candid and forthcoming with information about that kind of thing. So I assume this is all kind of a true story.
It was nice to see when we posted recently that people were liking this song when we said, "What's your favorite Klashnekoff song?" And a lot of people were responding with Black Rose, and it's it's that's ill. Do you know what I mean? A lot of people have a lot of different tastes, so when you put music out, you're bound to get people say, "I like this song, and this song, and this song, and this song." But
Yeah,
having
man.
this as your favorite song, like that's ill. Like
that's the thing, man. Like I speak to people all the time, and some people are like, it depends. Like for me, for example, I'm all about. It depends on, what side of bed I get out of. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
If I want to hear kind of just Aggie bars, if I want to just hear a concept or like like a good story being told,
yeah,
and a lot of people I know really really love that. They just love like a good story being told through rap, and
yeah.
that's what resonates with them. They can't get into just kind of random bars, and I get that. So I can see why this song probably appeals to a lot of people. But it was an interesting. It was interesting seeing everyone's takes on their favorite Klashnekoff song because
Yeah.
you put it out and you're like, right, obviously a lot of people were like, it's Murda, cool, but
Standard.
a lot of really really good songs came back as well, man. I thought like reminded me to go back and check them. I was just
Yeah,
like, sick.
I'm gonna go and check. All those albums that I haven't listened to for a long time. But why is that? Why are we listening to? This is why we should like celebrate, like we did. Do you know what I mean? Like why we should celebrate the artists because they made some good music like this, and they made it, and it was relevant, and it's still relevant now because it set a tone. I don't think there's ever been anyone to come out as strong as Kalashnikov and the way he came out, the way he raps. There's a way he raps in like the way the bars are constructed. Nobody raps like that. Really, I can think of one person that might rap a little bit like that. I'm not going to mention who it is, but like, you know, he was unique. There is nobody like him. There's no one even trying to be roughly like him, apart from that one person, right? So, yeah, I'll tell you that. But yeah, so it's yeah, he's sick. We need to give him his props. He needs to know that the people out there feel him. And if you haven't checked him, you need to go and check him now. Standard
Man.
Has to be done.
So Black Rose, quite a sobering track. Speaking of which, the next track is the skit. So there are a
Which one
few
is it?
different skits on here, and it's got like I'm not sure if it's from like a documentary or a film, and it's just like black people being kind of like racially.
Is it let me look at my thing. Let me look at my Spotify real quickly, just so I can check which one it is.
Yeah, it's just kind of black people being.
I think it's from a TV program.
Yeah.
I like this skit as well because obviously you've got what it sounds like to me is I'm envisioning in my mind, right? I'm envisioning like white kids and black kids sitting around somewhere in like a stairwell or something like that, and they're smoking or something, and then a lady comes along, takes a piss out of the black people for being black, and then turns around to the white guy and says, "You're a fucking traitor for hanging around with these lot," and then as a go at them, so calls them names and that. And then what I like is the fact that, he must be black because he says, this is my fucking country. and it's always been a fucking tip. So don't fucking tell me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that like when I that gives me goosebumps. And he's right. It is. It's like it is his fucking country. What are you talking about? And and where they live or where some people live, it is a fucking shithole. So shut up. Do you know what I mean? You're proud of your country. Why is it like this?
Yeah, man. It's those series of skits throughout kind of the second half of this album kind of build up.
Yeah.
It's I'm not sure if it is from, as I say, from like a TV show or
I
a
think
documentary.
I think it is. I think it sounds like it's from a TV show. To be fair, and I think as well the vocal sample seems to be sped up a little bit here and there. You can tell with the way the woman's talking. But yeah, no, I think it is. It's from a TV program. But like you said, I like the way it ties in because it it sets the scene. It's mistreatment. That's the first. The first skit was like a very sort of like religious thing. It sounded religious, ceremonial, with drums and what I don't know. I want to say a priest talking. And this one is about mistreatment. So it's they're being mistreated by someone. So it's almost like it's a contradiction. Contradiction. What's the word? Contrast. But yeah, then it's Our Time, which I think is amazing.
Yeah.
Lewis Parker, again, fucking killed it. Like, the sample to me is like greasy, just grimy, like, it's 70s, like, crime noir era, just, do you know what I mean? It's the dark places when it's nighttime outside. Do you know what I mean? That's where it is. It's cold. That's where it is. And to that end, that's where the bars are. That's exactly where his head is when he's doing this.
Yeah, man. Looking to transport your ass to court for half a quartz. You're getting scorched like torch. Burners being bought in port. Missions get abort. The feds waiting at the airport. CID, Armed Force, Inspector Morse. It's just like fucking hell, man.
Yeah, and it goes on as well. Like you don't have to. You can pick. It's like with the Jess thing as well. Like you can't. You can like quote one bit, but then you find yourself quoting the next bit because that also has relevance to what you're saying. And this song is probably the most cinematic song on here. Like if like Taxi Driver was set in Hackney, do you know what I mean? And it was a scene from that, and I don't know, like for me, that's what it sounds like to me. It's like rain and dingy bullshit, and it's yeah.
And if we're kind of like pulling apart, this is a tenuous link, right? And that's apt because it's a Raekwon thing, but this bar, incarcerated with racist scar faces.
Mm-hmm.
So, and incarcerated scar faces, obviously Raekwon talked about that sample in Staircase to Stage on the last album.
Yeah.
Sorry, just a little tenuous link there.
Little detour. I like the way he flipped it though.
Mm-hmm.
It's the flip. It's the racist
scar faces. Yeah.
You got to think like the criminal. I suppose that the criminal element in London is from the old school is mixed, is white, is majority white, I suppose, because the old school, they were white kind of guys. The old, the ones you think of like Frankie Fraser, you know what I mean, and Freddie Foreman, and Craze, and
the Craze, and yeah.
Those old school 60s gangsters that are age, 70s gangsters, they're all going to be old school, which implies that some of them might be quite racist.
Yeah,
so he's kind
very like dated worldviews. Yeah.
Yeah.
I doubt they gave a fuck either.
Probably not. But we might be wrong because some people, they grow up in poor people are poor people, so they're all in it together. So, but we die. We're assuming, but it's a nice flip on it. But yeah, that's true.
That's the note I had. Cinematic. I think that's probably the best way to sum up this track, man. So yeah, ridiculous. So what we got next?
And wait, and he uses the word cunt very, very well.
He does, man. That's the second use. That's the second use of the word cunt in the album, right?
Is it? I don't know, but I think
he uses it in Murda, which is like his most commercial song, which is mad. If you actually think about that.
But I like I love it on this. He calls the chief of Metropolitan Police in London a cunt on one of his songs. That's brazen. That's, you know what I mean?
I know, man. It's like, yeah, we get it. Like, Slow Tie calls the Queen a cunt or whatever now, and it's just like Klashnekoff was saying shit like this years ago. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
he said
There's a
about
little
like
bar. Yeah, go on. Keep
Jill
going.
Dando. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Dropped on your doorstep like Dando. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
it's just,
What does he
yeah,
say?
dark.
What does he say? This bar here, and I clocked it. I've clocked it before, but I clocked it again. What does he say? Twisted like contortion of coppers up in Hoxton who had certain black youths on road shotting rocks for them. What, you think I've forgotten? Fuck, Paul Condon, the whole force is rotten. I think that might be a fucking personal experience there, to be fair, because of the way it's conversational. He says people, coppers in Hoxton.
It's a bit like akin to that Eminem bar, isn't it? Like, fuck you, Guerrero. That was a fist that hit you. Like, just
Yeah.
just talking about a person via personal experience.
He-
Paul Leslie Condon, Baron Condon, is a retired British police officer. He was the commissioner of the Met Police from 1993 to 2000. So there you go.
But the reference before where he says they had certain black youths on road shotting rocks for them, he must have known something about coppers giving young people something to sell. He must have done. There must have been a person, or it must have been something that was known in the news or something. So that's mad. And he calls him a cunt for it, which is good.
Yeah, man. Nice way to wrap that one up, man.
Yeah.
So what we got next? We got Terra Firma Anthem. We talked about the skits and stuff.
Which one? We got the skit. Which is skit? Which one's this? This skit. I'll talk about this skit. Where are we? The skinny one.
Yeah.
What was that?
So that's like, it's like live footage in it from like a show.
And he beatboxes.
Yeah.
And he sings.
That's the one. Yeah.
I'm not sure. Is that one?
Yeah, I think so. It must be.
Oh, let me have a look. Should I check? I'll check it on my phone while we're doing this right now. No, he just talks about being pissed off and skinny. Hi, door. Yeah, it's that one. Where is that from? If anyone can tell me where that is from, I would like to know, because I like that. I sing to that when it's on. I leave that skit on purpose so I can sing to it. It's got a decent vibe to it. But that might be something we don't know about. But yeah.
So next we got Dago Mentality, man.
Banger.
Yeah.
Who did the remix?
Googling this now.
Google it. Who did the remix? Because I'm sure Lewis Parker did this one, but there's a remix. I'm sure there is. Wait for the powers of the internet. Kick in. Tom's face is computing. Look at that. Working away.
Nah, man. I don't think there is.
What about the single? What was because the single came out as a 12-inch.
You got a Jankroville remix.
Oh, okay. That might be it then.
On the B side, I think.
Yeah. Who did that? Maybe that was it then. That might have been it. It was a long time ago. These things happen when you are old and you forget because of...
I forget everything, man.
Mate, honestly, but yeah, I knew there was a remix on there, and I wasn't sure if it was this or if it was...
No, you've got a Dago Mentality instrumental, obviously, and you got the Jankroville remix with Kaiser.
Ooh, should have delved into that.
Yeah.
Fuck, I need to catch up on that. Maybe I'll just revisit it another time. It's fine.
You got an instrumental remix of Jankroville as well.
Yeah,
Sick.
But yeah, Dago Mentality, Raw, Ags, there we go. Yo, I'm live, fuck a 5, flex like Fernando. Do you know what I mean? Sick. So many quotables again from this. Just a banger. Unashamedly, is that a word?
I'm unashamedly.
Yeah, that'll do.
Ned Flanders in the
Ned
house.
Flanders, mate, that's it. Shotgun the Ned. Yeah, I'm saying like there's a lot of things going on here. But this is the thing, like I think this was probably the first song I heard from him. It was either this or it was Jankroville, or it was both of them, to be fair. When I was on SoulSeek, looking for songs and searching things up, this was probably the first song I heard of Klashnekoff, to be fair. So yeah, this left a huge impression on me. Do you know what I mean? It's
Do
just
you
like,
remember? Do you remember like how you found this song?
yeah, on Soulseek, like literally,
No,
like
no, but I mean like in terms of like before you obtained it
yeah.
by any means necessary. How did you find it, or did it just pop up and you downloaded it?
Do you know what? Like
So-
back in the day, like people used to have like just random folders of like UK hip hop. I'll go and grab that as a mixtape. Well, they might, yeah, no, it wasn't a mixtape though, but it was like they used to have folders of random songs and stuff. So I might have just downloaded it and been like, oh yeah, no, this is cool. Like, or people put you on to like, they hook you up and say, have you heard this? Because it's like a community thing back in the day where you go into the chat room and then someone goes, oh, this shit's come out. I've got this album. I've got this album. Do you know what I mean? And then you hear about all these things. So either someone put me up on it or I'd found it, or someone mentioned it, and I went and found it or something like that. That's how I found out about Doom's album, Food. Was literally.
food.
I remember it dropping that day. I went downstairs. It came on. Someone said, "You dropped a new album." I was like, "All right, cool, bang." Downloaded it. Said didn't like it, so I left it. Idiot. It came back later on. Did like it. It was fine. But you know what I mean. So yeah. But there's certain things like that though. A lot of albums sometimes you don't like when you're younger. When you get to a certain age, you do like them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Sometimes it's it works the other way as well. Like you like them when you first hit, or you convince yourself that you like something because maybe your peers do, or like you think, oh, like what am I missing here? But then you actually grow out of it and realize that you were right and they were wrong the whole time, and it's a fucking piece of shit.
like,
you know.
like yeah, like Coolio's album, yeah.
The Fantastic Voyage, was it?
That's a good song.
Yeah, man. I rate early Coolio, to be fair. Like, I don't.
Mad Circle stuff.
I think he's got a fucking sick voice.
Yes.
A bit corny, but yeah, man. I can't knock Coolio. He's. I don't think he's in a good way now, particularly. Do you hear that?
Klashnekoff to Coolio. Here we go.
Yeah, that's a good name for the episode, man. Klashnekoff to Coolio. How we've digressed. But there was a story where he stage dived at a gig, probably like fairly recently, like a few years ago, and he's got like beaten up and somebody stole his trainers. And they just dropped him.
Fuck yeah.
Oh, poor Coolio. But anyway, back to the Sagas of. Where are we?
The Sagas of Coolio.
So Dago Mentality, man. Yeah, sick track, absolute banger, unanimous, agreed. Next skit, I think you've already summed up the skits. Talked about kind of.
This one is about police brutality. Yeah, this one's got Bricktop in it, hasn't it?
What, the actor who plays Bricktop?
Yeah. Yeah. Hang on. Oh. No, this is no.
No, I think
we've got them mixed up.
So the neighbour, where you said they come along and then they say about this is my country. What, it's a shithole anyway. It always has been. That's this one.
The one before was the one with Bricktop in, which is about police brutality.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's them getting beaten up. Where they're walking home at 5 a.m. and they get jumped and beaten up by the police.
Yeah, man.
Doing robberies and stuff. But yeah, again.
So there are the original like names for the skits are like quite so like they're kind of inconsistent depending on where you look at them. So if you look at the name of the skit on Spotify, it will tell you something different to what it tells you on like Wikipedia, for example.
Right.
And on Genius.
Because the one, this. Oh, hang on. Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, no, yeah, I get you. Yeah. So that's that one. Can you see that? I can't see me. So
it's a bit blurry, man.
All right. Either way, it's like
they're quite like
derogatory terms.
Yeah, exactly.
They are derogatory terms. So it's like, yeah.
Just go look up on Spotify. But I suppose it's like the language is used to kind of like drive the message home.
They're all quite old terms as well, dated terms, but nevertheless they were still used. So it's terms they're formative terms as such. Unfortunately, you know what I mean, they're terms that we use as being heard as growing up as a young person, you know, terrible terms. But yeah,
Do you
it
think
creates
that they
insecurity.
were taken from so you know the TV program that they've sampled that they've sampled on the album? Do you think they've taken it from that specific era? Because it sounds like it's the 70s or something like that, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah.
even for the time this was released, it sounds like more kind of, as you say, formative like terminology, but without going into it too much. But yeah,
Should go into it really though.
yeah,
Do you know what I mean? Like their culture. If you look at the first skit, it's cultural, it's religious, and then the songs are full of like they're not social messages, but social commentary about what they live in and how they live and their anxieties and their thoughts. And then the skits kind of represent what they're up against, what the people who live in those areas or of that, um, you know, denomination are up against. You know what I mean? So that's what it is, isn't it? Just
yeah,
it's quite well, it's quite succinct. It's something
yeah,
that's it's
cohesive. Well,
cohesive, all
yeah,
encapsulating. And I've never actually listening to this album. I've never actually broke it down like that. I've never. This is the first time I've ever kind of come to that conclusion, and we've done it on camera, so that's good. And now we can tell people. So do you know what I mean? But that even goes to show of how well thought out, intentionally, even unintentionally. Do you know what I mean? This album is.
also though, to bring it full circle, you've got it's kind of bookended. So you've got
Yeah.
the ceremonial, spiritual beginning with the soliloquy and the drums, the tribal drums, and the last track, the Son of Night, is very spiritual in itself. So it's almost like it almost kind of comes full circle.
Yeah.
Yeah, man,
It's almost like a
crazy.
throwback as well. It's almost like my thoughts grow like herb in wild fields of mango. Yeah, so your that first image is my thoughts grow like in wild fields. So you're almost like you have your like you said it's full circle. So you're kind of thinking back to a simpler time maybe because it's wild fields. It's not something that's segregated and grown in specific areas. Like yeah,
But
so yeah.
also, it's the kind of the analogy he uses of kind of animals in the wild, and it's actually really intelligent.
Yeah.
If you look at the whole like body of work lyrically from start to finish, and you've brought it up, kind of the obstacles that he's had to face in his life, and the comparison at the end here, and how it's tied together. It's just it's remarkable, man. And I'm just coming to that realization now, like.
So who do we have any context of who Naya was? What the fuck does Naya mean? We don't know what it means, but the song is very, very good. Like
Yeah.
like you said, it's yeah, you said it was really intelligent.
It seems to have kind of a spiritual a kind of spiritual message there, and it seems very it kind of again very kind of reflective, very kind of introspective, but also kind of he's
Do what you can type like in your own like catch-22 type thing where like he's still out in the manor smoking weed or whatever like he says on there and shit gets venomous like Kosovo but he's trying to carry the legacy that's left by his father at the same time. Do you know what I mean? Like he's trying to there's yeah.
I think you've summed it up really well, mate. I don't think there's any need to add any more because
No?
I'm no, man. I think you've got that one
Yeah, I'm pretty good at this.
on the money.
Yeah, I think so. I wonder what Clash thinks of it. Is that the right message? But yeah, no, I think that it's a really, there's no hook on it. So it is literally a message within the bars, you know what I mean? And it's just a statement of his catch-22, but he understands his not heritage, but yeah, Yeah, it's wicked. I love it. I love it.
More research required for that one,
Yeah.
man. I want to go down a rabbit
Answers
hole
on a
now.
Postcard. It's a very good song. It almost feels out of place as well. Like, but then like you said, it comes full circle. Like you've got the ag of the whole album and the different aspects of all the songs and the rawness and the gritty and the griminess, and then this kind of like sleeps in at the end, and it catches you almost napping, and it kind of lulls you into a restful state. Do you know what I mean? Because of the way the beat is, and because of the way there's no hook in it as well.
Yeah.
So it's more relaxing.
100%, man. And I think you almost need that after, the kind of sheer raw force of this album.
Yeah, 100%.
So it's a nice closer, man. But
yeah, it's really good.
So unless you've got anything else to speak on the Son of Naya, Jerry, what's your final thought of the day?
Jerry?
It's an old Jerry Springer reference, man. Come on.
Yeah, I know. I'm old.
Get with it.
Don't be like Paul Condon. Yeah, no.
He's a cunt.
But yeah, wicked album. Like it was defining for the time that it came out. Influenced so many people. As an artist, Klashnekoff is completely unique. We as fans, we always wanted to hear more and more Klashnekoff. As we said, life gets in the way. Maybe we weren't. That's what we got, and we just value what we got in it. Do you know what I mean? And this album is fucking brilliant, and I love it, and I will always play it, and I will play it to my children, and I will make them rap the words too, as long as my wife doesn't listen. So there we go.
Man. I've got a mirror that exact same sentiment, except I love it just a little bit more than you. Just jokes aside, man. Thanks for the chat, man. This has been sick. And to anyone listening, if we missed any like key bits of information or just fucked up, then just allow us and let us know, because this is it about UK hip hop history. It's so kind of disjointed and fragmented. Unless you hear it from the source, it's hard to really obtain. So yeah, let us know. Hopefully we'll be doing another one of these soon. Hit up the comments and let us know what you'd like us to talk about. A classic UK hip hop record or something a bit more obscure, then we'll all ears really.
That's it.
Sick.
And hope Clash on the thing soon, and then we can just get more legends. Push.
Yeah. Sky's the limit, man. Sky's the limit. Let's just keep this thing going. But we're at Shotgun The Aux. This has been another exciting episode of Shotgun the Classics.
That's it.
That will eventually roll off the tongue.
It will.
So go follow us on the usual platforms at Shotgun The Aux. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you want. Lots of new kind of music coming out on there and podcasts and all sorts. So just keep your eyes peeled. Big up, Rob. Good to chat to you as always, my brother. Peace.
Peace.